like a soundtrack to their survival, a testament to the growing and enduring power of human creativity, the labyrinth of adolescence where emotions run wild and identities forge. Music becomes more than just a sound. It's not just sound, it's the thread that binds the chaos, the bridge between who we were and who we are becoming. Not just a rhythm to the days, but a refuge, a safe space where the turmoil of growing up can find expression and understanding. It's like a lifeline, a secret language, a symphony of hope, despair, joy, and anger. Some say it's a catalyst for motivation, the fuel for ambition like study soundtracks or workout anthems. I'd say it's the silent therapist, especially when words fail to express. It speaks for us. The silent therapist that doesn't judge, it simply listens. One that understands and speaks volumes. Now, in the realm of adolescence, it's like a booster empowering us to dream and to defy expectations. The sea of hormones and emotions that run wild can be a double-edged sword.
In the adolescent years, that's the period when the limbic system, that's the part of the brain that's responsible for managing emotions, it's very active in the teen years, and it's really developing at that period.
Through the adolescence and teen years, people is trying to find their identity.
Music serves as both a mirror and a catalyst for growth. From the earliest moments of exposure to sound as babies, individuals begin to develop an awareness of their own agency in perceiving and responding to music. A study done in 2009 about children's response to music from a very young age, the awareness of agency that's related to perceived sound encourages synchronization, therefore growing the social bonding effects of musical activities. Now, as an adolescent, beneath the surface of every teenage experience, there is a storm, a cacophony of emotional turbulence in their cognitive growth. As mentioned before, the double-edged sword means that music can be an all too effective way of staying stuck in repetitive thoughts.
It's a temporary to switch the mindset. Instead of go to the problem, you go to the music.
You're trying to find validation in music. That way, like kind of music accompanies you throughout that event. The example of why is it important sometimes to also educate adolescents and young adults on how to use music is because they do not understand how to use it to regulate their emotions. Sometimes what they do is that they have a negative emotion and they might just like reinforce that negative emotion without understanding. However, the big difference is like, if I want to use music to help me get to a better emotional place, or am I going to stay there in the depression?
When music enters the scene, it speaks directly to their brain, bypassing the complexity of words and reaching straight to the core. It's more than just melodies, they are messages. And in some cases, those messages can be deeply harmful. Music, especially in certain genres, is filled with lyrics that glorify violence, drug use, and unhealthy relationships. The songs we listen to today aren't just sounds, they're stories we live through.
That you love, but you have to listen to it too. What are the lyrics saying? You know, you need to listen to the lyrics. I've heard people that say, oh, I just listened to this song because of it's a cool rhythm, you know, the drums or whatever, the beat. Yeah, the brain doesn't do that filter, like doesn't filter like that. The brain takes it all in. It takes the music, and what happens is the lyrics gets imprinted. The lyrics, meaning the ideas of the song, get imprinted in the brain through that music that you listen to. So it is important.
When music enters, it biologically activates the reward system of triggering the release of dopamine. The rush of pleasure, that high, is a biological response, not just a fleeting moment of joy. Unlike most adults who often approach music events with a more individualistic mindset, perhaps seeking nostalgia or a fleeting escape. Us adolescents are still in the throes of identity formation. It's also not just something to experience, it's something to live through, to define themselves by. According to Daniel Leviathan from his book, This Is Your Brain on Music, an adolescent's mind develops and forms new connections at a much explosive rate and slows down as we grow older, especially in music. Music recognition from neuroplasticity in adults occurs vastly less than children and adolescents. Even the structure of the music, the notes themselves can shape how we feel. For centuries, composers have used two primary tools to control emotion, the major and minor scales. Major scales are associated with brightness, excitement, happiness, and joy. But shift a few notes, just a few intervals, and you've stepped into the world of the minor scale. Suddenly, everything sounds different. Heavier, moodier, sadder. It's not magic, it's music theory meeting brain chemistry. So, why do we like the music that we listen to? Literally, our brain and auditory system have evolved to process certain sound features like rhythm, pitch, and harmony, which align with natural sound patterns such as the human voice. Music becomes a cathartic purge and a temporary reprieve from the pressures of growing up. But what happens when that escape turns into something more? It all starts with one question. You listen to the song too?
It was groups that could support each other that became strong. It was being able to care for each other when we're sick. It was being able to nurture. That is all possible because of our social connections. Music, I think, really taps into that need that we have for connection. Sense of belonging is such an important component of experiencing happiness and joy in life. And music is kind of that glue that can bring us together.
The brain processes communal musical experiences the same way it processes deep social bonds. That's why singing along with thousands of strangers at a concert doesn't just sound good, it feels good. It creates a collective identity, a moment in unity, in a world that often feels disconnected. The future of music for young people will likely be even more interactive and immersive, with possibilities for creating deeper emotional and social connections.
I think many adolescents, or if you invite adults to think back about their lives, many people were very deeply connected to music and inspired by music in their adolescent years, and a lot of people lose that when they move into adulthood.
When our brain is at its most impressionable, these messages can seep in deeper than we realize. Music could be a catalyst for motivation or a trigger for stagnation. It could push us towards healing or keep us stuck in harmful cycles.
We need to start thinking more about brain health and not just mental health. Brain health. So let us talk about that, about how can we use music for our brain health. Because when you think about that, it makes a difference. We're not just thinking about, if I feel sad, I'm going to listen to this or that. We're thinking about, how do I keep myself healthy as a whole, my brain healthy as a whole? So what are the things that we can do with music and through music to keep good brain health, which may lead to good mental health?
Before we go further, let me share something with you. For as long as I can remember, music was more than background noise in my life. It was the only thing that made sense when nothing else did. It helped me understand emotions that I didn't have words for and gave me strength when everything felt like life was too much. From singing in church, to creating, to leading worship, to jamming sessions, music slowly became the language I could rely on. It lifted me, it grounded me, and sometimes it challenged me to face feelings I didn't want to admit I had. So when I say that music is a lifeline, I mean it. Because it was mine too. And maybe in your own way, you felt that too. Now back to you. Yes, you, the one you're watching or listening right now, you know exactly what I mean. That one song, the one you turn to when nothing else makes sense. Maybe it helped you through heartbreak. Maybe it gave you the courage to keep going. Maybe it made you feel understood when no one else could. Music is more than just a sound. It's like a sanctuary, a place where emotions are free to exist without judgment, a moment of calm in the middle of the storm. And sure, it's not always just one song. Maybe it's a whole playlist, a mixtape of emotions that rise and fall with you. Songs that carry you through the hardest nights and the brightest mornings. But here's the thing. You choose the soundtrack to your survival. Music is powerful, and the choice of what we let in is what we allow to define our moments, and that choice belongs to us. So as you press play on your next song, ask yourself, is this lifting me up? Is this pushing me forward? Because music isn't just a backdrop. It's a force, and it's the soundtrack to your survival.